Most aches, pains, mobility problems, and movement issues are made worse if you're producing too much tension while you move, or even when you're not moving, like standing for long periods of time, sitting at a desk, or when you're really stressed. When muscles around an area get too tight, it reduces the space around the joints. This can increase pressure in those areas, and in some cases, that can become uncomfortable. It's like the difference between lying on one nail, less space, ouch, and lying on a bed of nails. Greater space, broader load, more comfortable. To increase our overall range of motion and space, we have to learn how to move with less tension. We need to move more fluidly, and I'm going to teach you how to do that in this video. You'll get a sequence of exercises that you can perform that teach your body to produce less tension when you move. And you can use this as a daily practice to help you recover from a hard workout, to fall asleep, or even when you're stressed. But the moves I'm going to show you will unlock your mobility and make you feel that much better. And if you stick around to the end, I'll show you a standing progression of these movements that you can incorporate either once you've mastered these basics or as a general warm-up. If you want to get the most out of these exercises, follow these keys. Step 1. Set a timer for as little as a minute to as long as 5 minutes. Step 2, quietly nasal breathe throughout. Think a 4 to 6 count for both the inhale and the exhale. Step 3, move stupidly slow. This isn't about feeling a stretch or going as far as you possibly can. It's about moving with as little tension and effort as humanly possible. If you get it right, you should feel nothing, like I do sometimes. Once you start to feel a stretch, that's when you want to go the opposite direction. Work within those end ranges, not to them. Over time, you might experience that you're feeling heavier or more weight into the ground, or you might get a little sleepy. And if you do fall asleep, please have a playlist of me playing in the background on YouTube for the algo, you know. This first move focuses on learning how to move your torso and pelvis as a unit without producing a whole lot of tension. Lie on your side with your head resting on some pads or pillows. You should have a foam roller out in front of you, and your arm and your leg should be resting on it. Slowly log roll your body back and forth, again, moving with as little tension and effort as humanly possible. The biggest mistake people make during this exercise is over-rolling with the upper body or the lower body specifically. You want your head, your chest, and your torso to move as one unit. Moving with less tension works best if you have more overall rotation available. Things that have the most rotation are more cylindrically shaped in nature. Things that are flatter have less rotation. This applies to humans because if there's a lot of muscle activity on the front and the back side of the body, that musculature creates a squeezing force on the body, making people flatter. What does that mean? Well, you can't rotate as well. So if we do things that reverse engineer that by squeezing the sides and opening up the front to back space, that can improve overall rotation. And believe it or not, simply lying on your side, as shown in this study right here, can do just that. But this exercise adds even more to that to improve your overall rotation. Lie on your side with pads or pillows on your head and get 2 yoga blocks. One should be long ways on the rib cage. The other should be at the top part of the pelvis. You're gonna lie down on these blocks. If it's too much pressure, you can put a pad or a pillow atop these blocks. And all you're gonna do is slowly breathe in this position, progressively melting down into those blocks. Now that you can move with less tension and you have more overall rotation, let's now build our end ranges up. The first thing we want to go after is external rotation at this point. Because when you externally rotate either your arms or your legs, your body takes up more space. And remember, the more space that you have, the less tension you'll produce. Lie on your side with pads or pillows on your head. This time you're gonna have your arms out in front of you with the palms touching one another. The hips will be at about a 60-degree angle and the knees will be at a 90-degree angle. Feet will stay together. At the same time, keeping your feet together, lift one knee up and slide the top hand across the bottom hand and chest until you slowly slowly roll to your back and then continue the arm and leg movement so you get to the other side. You'll alternate rotating to both sides at this slow pace. If you've improved overall external rotation, the opposite side of that coin is internal rotation. The more internal rotation you have, the better you'll do at high force activity, because that rotation is required for those. Again, get on your side, but this time you're going to want a weight in your hand. Kettlebells, I find, work best. Have your chest and pelvis parallel to the wall with your arm atop your torso. I find that it's helpful if you cheat it a little bit forward, because most people make the mistake going too far back. You'll still quietly nasal breathe through your nose. As you do so, you want to slowly roll to your back with your arm going into a fist bump position. But this time, when you exhale, do so for a 4 to 6 count through the mouth. As you do that, you want to reach the weight towards the ceiling and your leg on the same side across, so you get back to the start position. You'll alternate these back and forth rolls for the times that we've done for all of the other exercises. Now, if you really want to reduce overall tension, you need to be able to perform both of these rotations at the same time. You can do this by lying on your back with your feet flat on the ground. Inhale and let one knee fall out to the side. It is okay if your back comes up towards the end range. During the exhale, you're going to bring the opposite knee towards the knee that fell outward. You'll alternate doing this side to side. Go as far as you can with the legs, alternating sides, without producing a whole lot of tension. Now, all of those moves work really well at reducing overall tension, and I find them quite useful for improving pain in my patients and clients. But the big issue with all of them is they're ground-based. If you are spending your days on 2 feet doing stuff not on the ground, the transfer of them to those activities is not as good. That's why you have to be able to learn how to move with less tension and fluidly in standing. So once you've mastered these activities, I would encourage you to progress to the next sequence that I'm going to show you. This first move is based off a Tai Chi exercise that I actually picked up from some of my students in the land of China. What you'll do is you'll get in an athletic stance with your arms slowly reached forward. Then take the outside hand on one side, go palm up, and move it out to the side as slowly and fluidly as you can. The opposite arm is going to go palm down and it's going to go towards the ground. So you're moving at an up diagonal with the outside hand and a down diagonal with the inside hand. Then, as you shift your weight towards the other side, you're going to flip that. The down arm is going to go palm up towards the sky. The top arm is going to go palm down and towards the ground. And you'll alternate moving your arms slowly and fluidly, shifting weight side to side in this position for the same duration that we did with all the other movements. This next move builds upon that last exercise, only this time we're adding more speed to the mix. The faster you go, the harder it is to produce less tension, but it's also necessary if you want to move freaky fast. You're going to let your arms completely dangle at your sides, and they're just going along for the ride. Think like the tube guy that you might see at a car lot. Swinging your trunk and your head from side to side, let your arms flop along with you as your trunk moves. As you build up speed and momentum, you'll let your hands touch higher and higher on the trunk. Do 2 to 3 sets of 10 swings per side with this exercise. You can progress this arm and trunk motion into higher ranges of shoulder flexion. This is going to help open up different areas of the trunk and the shoulders, and it's a way to progress the previous activity. This time you want to bend forward at the waist and start walking backwards. As you walk backwards, you're going to swing your arms side to side as far as you can, but again, fluidly and producing as little tension and effort as possible. I do 4 to 5 sets of 10 yards walking backwards with that movement. Then we can apply the same concept to the lower body, this time using leg swings, both in the forward position and going side to side. Start with short ranges, but then as you get comfortable and your mobility improves, you can increase the range and the speed. At a certain point, if you go too hard, you might feel a pretty gnarly hamstring stretch, but depending on what your goal is, that could be advantageous. Now you'll notice with all these exercises, movement wasn't the only thing that we used to heal the body and reduce tension. We also talked a lot about breathing, but the issue is, how do you breathe to maximize your movement gains in things like lifting weights or high force activities or when you're moving fast? Well, check out this video right here because I go into the exact process that you can use to do just that.